So I have now been in Japan for a little over a month now. And a lot of people ask me what that I immediately noticed was different. And honestly, I really can't think of anything off the top of my head that I didn't, that at least I didn't know before. Um, I think probably the main differences between here and America are everyone's really nice for uh, no ulterior motive or reasoning, just because it's or just other than it's the good slash right thing to do. Um, I've only had one person be like mean to me so far, and I just got like shushed because we were at Okayama Castle and they were playing like traditional Japanese music, and me and my buddy were talking a little bit too loud for him, and he just leaned over and shh. Man, I mean, hey, if that's the worst thing that happens to me here, then I think I'm pretty good. Um, so yeah, there's everyone's really nice and really understanding. Children walk to school on their own. There's no buses. There's public transportation, but all of the children, whether it's like from the little like elementary school kids all the way up to the high school kids, they all either walk or ride their bikes to school. In America, that would not happen. One, because child predators, and two, because we have buses that take kids back and forth to school. Um, I really couldn't say which one I prefer. Uh, I don't know. I guess they both have their pluses, but I think both only works in their own country. So like the whole busing thing only works in America because child predators, and the walk to school slash bike to school on your own or with your group of friends only works in Japan because they have the collective mindset. So with the whole like serious shaming that really deters people from doing anything that you would really consider bad or which would happen on a daily basis in America. Um, so that's pretty much why those two things only work in their respective countries. That's the word I was looking for. Respective. See what else? Oh, you drive on the left side of the road, but you sit in the right side of the car. For me, it wasn't any different for me at all. Like my first or second video showed, I think second video, it's like a 3 minute walk or yeah, about a 3 to 4 minute walk from my apartment to the 7-Eleven. Uh, and when I got in my car, I just drove from my apartment to 7-Eleven just to see how it'd be before I had to go out and drive anywhere that was like, I guess, far or further than 7-Eleven. So I got used to it with that one short trip of driving. Partially because I've been driving since I was very young. When growing up, my father and my grandfather and my middle brother Sean would always go golfing, and as soon as we were out of sight of the clubhouse, they would let my brother and I drive the golf carts because they're only golf carts. There's not a whole lot that you can hurt or get hurt by in a golf cart unless you're like really trying. So that's pretty much how we learned to drive was in golf carts. Honestly, I really recommend it because one, you get a feel for steering a vehicle of some sorts without too much risk to yourself or others, and two, it's got most of the like I guess just the basic functions of a vehicle like gas, brake, stop, reverse, turn left, turn right, blah blah blah, etc. etc. So, anyways, I digress, kind of. Let's see what else. The food here is really healthy. Like even stuff like ramen, which or like ramen or cup noodle, which we would consider to be very unhealthy in America. It's actually got less sodium and whatnot and less fake crap in it than in America, which is pretty funny and astounding, and also does not speak well for the quality of most American food. Um, Fake food really doesn't exist here in Japan. Uh, Partially, or probably mainly because of my previous video, how I said that most of the people in Japan are a lot more connected to nature and they respect nature a lot more than people do in America. It's actually pretty refreshing because I mean, you really don't have to worry about where something comes from. Like, I mean, there's food from China, so you've got to kind of worry about that just because it's China, and they don't have a whole lot of regulations over there, as you can or as you may or may not know from their wonderful quality of air over there. Uh, Short little side story, which was probably gonna happen a ton in this video. But anyways, there was a I think he's an artist, and I think he did this in Hong Kong, I think, or maybe Beijing. But anyways, one of the big cities where the air quality is absolutely atrocious. He takes a shop vac, and he just literally vacuums the air. And after a month of doing this, he had an actual solid like brick full of, or that's just 100% pollution from the air in China. And I think he only did it for I think an hour each day. So what is it, 30 to 31 hours of just vacuuming the air, like just vacuuming air in a shop vac, and he collects a solid brick full of pollution from the air over there. So yeah, not really uh, very good to get vegetables and crap over there if that's what the air quality is. But it is what it is. They're a lot cheaper, so it also depends on what you're buying too. Like meat, I wouldn't get meat from China. Plus, I really don't think they ship meat from China. But I don't know. What else is different? Oh, bread actually feels and tastes like bread, like white bread. That's pretty much the only bread they have over here. American white bread basically has the same nutritional value as newspaper. So in America, I always used to have either like 9 grain or whole grain or honey wheat or something like that. Basically anything other than newspaper white bread. And like the bread's actually like it's pretty thick. It's I don't know, maybe like a slice is probably that thick. So comparison to like my thumb, so it's pretty thick bread. Um, it lasts a lot longer too. I don't know what that is, but I don't know. It lasts a lot longer. It's more fluffy. It actually has nutritional value to it. What else? Green vegetables really are kind of hard to come by here. In America, I always used to eat like broccoli or peas or Brussels sprouts or something like that. Um, so yeah, as far as my nutritional intake goes, vegetables are pretty low on the list of stuff that I consume daily. I guess most Japanese people get their nutritional value green wise from seaweed. The seaweed that I bought, it's got a really awkward taste to it. Uh, if I had to put it in words, it feels like if you put a condom in your mouth and chewed on that. That's basically the consistency of the seaweed that I bought. Um, so, needless to say, it's not pleasant for me. Not that I know what a condom in my mouth tastes like, but hey, if I had to put a texture to it, that's what it'd be. Plus, I got this dehydrated stuff, so it's dehydrated, so there's no water in it. So I was making miso soup for one there, my first time making miso soup, and uh, the dehydrated seaweed is really small. Like it's probably I don't know. Most of them are like little, kind of like I don't know. They're really small. So I put it in the boiling water, and I put way too much in. I have a pretty decent sized pot, and within probably a minute or so, the entire pot was just filled up with seaweed. So I had to throw a lot of it out, and I learned my lesson that dehydrated seaweed gets very big very quickly. So put in very little of it. Plus, then I had to dump out the miso because it just tasted like straight up seaweed, no miso at all, and that was unpleasant. Differences. Hmm. Oh, driving. Going back to that. Most of the probably about 95% of the drivers here are incredibly courteous. So as I showed you in the previous video, the roads here are pretty small. So like if you have an obstacle on your side of the road, well, I mean, technically this is how you're supposed to do it in America, but no one does this in America. So if you have an object on your side of the road, then 9 out of 10 times the person with the object on their side of the road will pull over to the side and stop because most of the roads in Japan, other than the main roads, are very small and can usually only accommodate like a car and a half. Uh, Side by side, it really doesn't work on the roads. I really couldn't tell you why. I'm sure it's got something to do with being more countryside and rural for the longest time. So the roads were used to accommodate those size cars. Plus, there's really no like large size cars or even SUVs really here. Their garbage trucks are probably mm, probably a fourth of the size of a American school bus. So everything in Japan is tiny and compact and cute. Like the regular pickup trucks are probably 3/4 of the size of a old like S10 or an old Ranger. Um, so I mean, if you see like a pickup or like a work truck, that's pretty much the truck that everyone has. Over here we have these things called K cars. They're basically small box cars with and I mean box like like the like those Scion XBs or the Nissan Cube or whatever the hell those things are called. Um, and they've got a really small engine. I don't remember how many cc's it is, but it's really small. But they're basically super efficient on gas, and all of the mirrors on the cars fold in too. So like when you press the lock button, the mirrors will fold in, and that's pretty much to accommodate so people don't take out your mirrors when you're trying to pull in or they're trying to pull out or whatever. Plus, it's just easier to walk through an aisle when you're not trying to dodge mirrors and whatnot. So that's cool. The croissants here are absolutely amazing. I don't know if I mentioned that in my previous video, but I'm going to mention it again if I did because they are that good. There is a shop about a 7 minute drive from my apartment called I always mess it up, Aruka, I think it is, and they've got a bakery in the grocery store, and the croissants there are absolutely fantastic. Actually, my buddy that we always go to the store together, he went to France and he didn't, so he's his words not mine. He's very spoiled when it, when it comes to breads and like baguettes and croissants because obviously croissants are French, and even those croissants at Aduka got his stamp of approval, so they're pretty damn good. It's like 500 yen for five of them, so it's about like a buck a croissant ish. Uh, but I pretty much have that, a 7-Eleven donut, and a banana every morning. Canned coffee is, mm, it's good, but I don't always like to have it first thing in the morning in case my stomach is upset, for whatever reason. Um, Usually it's just because of what I ate the night before. But it's not like upset. It's more of like a nervous upset. But I'm not nervous, or at least I'm not consciously nervous. Plus, I don't like to pee during during class, so I always like to try and wait until I've got like a break between classes, because most of the schools either have me start first thing in the morning. So my school schedule is basically 8:30 to 4:15 is my contract time. But in Japan, if you're on time, then you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you are on time. So a little side story is one of my other friends here was telling me about, or he posted another video on Facebook, and he was saying how this one kid was like literally like a second and a half late after the bell rung, and the teacher took him outside and just ripped him a new one for being a second and a half late. So if that's any sort of indication on punctuality here in Japan, then yeah, it definitely puts America to shame as far as punctuality goes. Uh, as the saying goes, be fashionably late in America. I was not raised to be fashionably late. I was always raised with the whole if you're 15 minutes early, then you're on time. Because I personally I would much rather be there early and wait until I'm like supposed to be there than show up late because I would be what's the word I wouldn't be fulfilling my contract, and it also just kind of looks bad too, you know. Especially for the Japanese teachers who they work an ungodly amount of hours for less than I get paid. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say how much I get paid. I probably did in another video, but just to keep my contract safety, I'm not going to mention it. Um, Maybe I can mention it in American dollars. It's like $2,200 a month ish with the conversion rate, but since I don't need to convert anything because I'm living in Japan, I always just follow the yen. So, but anyways, yeah, the Japanese teachers get there very early. Most of them get there very very early. There's some of them that roll in when I do and roll in after I do. But I'm sure it's just because they have different positions rather than actual like teaching. Whether it's like secretary or something. I don't know. I'm not even trying to rationalize it. But anyways, they get there super early and they normally stay there pretty late. Uh, One of the trainers was telling us about how uh, he was doing like an after school function or something like that, and he didn't leave school until like I don't know 8 or 9 o'clock at night or something like that, maybe even 10. And some of the teachers were still there grading papers or doing whatever, and when he came in early the next morning, that they were still there. So they had stayed there overnight to get done what they needed to get done. And like I mentioned in my previous video, again with the whole sports thing, it just comes down to dedication and doing what needs to be done, regardless of how it needs to be done. It just needs to get done. Um, so I'm looking at my phone, and it's now at almost 18 minutes. Um, Kind of an all over the place video, maybe I guess. I think I'll make a bonus video later with just tips and whatnot for living or even just visiting in Japan, because this video is mostly just differences. Um, let's see more differences. The internet here is, as I may or may not post it on Facebook, of my speed. The internet here is really fast, and it's really like dirt cheap. I think I pay 1,600 yen a month for my internet, which is like call it $16. It's like 13.46 or 14.73 or something like that after the conversion rate. But either way, it's $16 a month for internet, and it's rolled into my apartment cost. And my apartment cost is like 53,000 yen a month. So it's like call it $500, and that includes internet, my parking space, and my rent, and a couple other like fees because everything has some sort of fee and paperwork to go along with it in Japan. Uh, Cars run on gas. Japan runs on paperwork. So be ready for that if you come over here to live. You will have to do a lot of paperwork, and if you do not speak Japanese, you need to find someone who does speak Japanese, because it will be near impossible to get it done without speaking Japanese, unless you're really good with doing gestures and stuff. I'm good with gestures, and some of the times I can't get across what I'm trying to say, which is kind of frustrating, but it's also uh, motivation to learn Japanese more. I don't really like the term motivation because motivation is kind of fickle and it can kind of come and go. But if you train yourself to do something or just do what needs to get done, then you'll find learning things a lot easier. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the whole motivation things. Like I said, motivation is fickle. What else? What else? What else? Water is really cheap here. Uh, I've got this. The hell size is it? It's 2 quarts. 2 quarts of water. It's like 94 yen or something like that, and that's not even the cheapest one. I think the cheapest one is like 65 yen or something like that. So it's less than a buck for 2 quarts of water. So well, I think I mentioned it, but the 7-Elevens here, they're called convenis, or it's like Convini, but the Japanese have a kind of a tough time pronouncing the V sound, so they normally pronounce it as B. So even though it's conveni, they kind of pronounce it as conveni. I'm I'm sure you can hear the difference because most of the people watching are American, so they speak English. Um, I'm pretty sure that it's written in katakana. So basically, there's hiragana, which is used for Japanese words, katakana, which is used for foreign words. So like computer, it's written as computa. Katakana, it's not a Japanese word, so that's why it gets thrown into the katakana. And there's kanji. Kanji are they're basically I'd probably call them pictographs. So like the word for the kanji for person is called I think it's hito. So hito hito, and the kanji for it is so it's basically like it basically looks like a teepee, but it also looks like a person. So and I could be confusing that with tree, but I'm pretty sure hito is person. So basically, most of the kanji look like what they describe to a certain extent. Some of them take some imagination to kind of picture, but yeah, it's definitely very difficult to get used to the writing system. Here, hiragana and katakana you can more or less just memorize and practice because there's only like 36 or 46 characters in each one, and probably about half of them you either add these two little like sideways quotation marks or you add a tiny circle next to it, and that makes it a different character. So you really only need to memorize half of them, and then just memorize which little symbol goes next to each one of them, and that's basically a different sound. It's I think it's the same way with katakana, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So the writing system is vastly different. In Japan, everyone wears these masks. So I stretch this one out a lot, so it's not going to fit right. Basically, you wear them like this. Uh, they're mainly used to, as I fog my glasses up, they're mainly used to prevent allergies. When you go to work and you don't feel well, you're supposed to wear one of these because it is courteous and considerate to your coworkers. Because you need to get your work done, but you also shouldn't get people sick that are around you. So in America, people always think that they're that they're really strange or they have some like deadly disease or virus or some nonsense like that. Uh, but here in Japan, it's very regular, and also if you wear one, people also tend to respect you more because it shows that you have empathy and that you care about the people around you because you don't want to get them sick. So it's basically it's allergies because pollen and allergies here are absolutely freaking awful. They're not as bad as in Ohio, uh, but it's definitely not like you breathe clear. Like you can definitely feel it, and it's not even like summer technically yet. It's still spring, so that's real thrilling. Anyways, so allergies, you're sick, or you don't want to get sick. So during like flu season, or even if you just have some important meeting or some important day that's coming up that you cannot get sick for, just wear a mask, and you usually will not get sick. Pretty cool. They're kind of a pain in the ass for me to wear because of my glasses, because they normally come up to like right there. So whenever I breathe, it just fogs my glasses up. So I'm sure there's a way to wear it to where I can get it so my hot ass breath goes underneath my glasses, but I don't really care enough to try and figure that out. So I just kind of learned to breathe differently. 25-minute video. I think I'm gonna end it here. I really can't think of anything else like that's like different off the top of my head right now. So if I think of something later when I do my little bonus video, I will post it in that. Like I said, the bonus video is probably gonna be like tips and tricks for living slash visiting Japan. Uh, just so you just so you can come back. Some of the things that Americans do that they're incredibly rude over here. I won't get into it too much. Um, the Japanese are anti-confrontational, so they won't point so they won't call you out and like, oh, you filthy barbarian Westerner, what are you doing? They'll they'll usually just smile at you and uh, not really understand because you just like disgrace their culture more more or less. Uh, and some of the things I'm honestly not blowing it out of proportion. You'll kind of see what I mean later. Uh, so yeah, 26 minutes, probably be 7 minutes. So sorry for the crazy ass long video, but yeah, there was a lot of rambling in this one. So thank you as always for watching, and I will keep you up to date every Saturday usually, unless I go out of town or I do something or I just don't feel like posting one. But I will try my best to post a video every Saturday for all y'all. I'll usually have something to talk about, whether it's just rambling or like actual factual things. Actually, if you're watching this, whether I post it on Facebook or I post it on YouTube, comment on either Facebook and or YouTube and tell me what you would like to see, what you would like to know. So I'm not just so I'm not just talking about random nonsense for a half hour at a time. So yeah, tell me what you want to see, know, hear, do, whatever, and I will give you some perspective on it from a barbarian Westerner living in Japan. So as always, thanks for watching. Uh, Comment, subscribe, whatever, plugs, crap. So yeah, thank you again. Enjoy it'll probably be Saturday by the time you guys see this. It's Saturday right now because it's 13 hours ahead of Ohio time. So enjoy your day and thank you for watching.